Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is round four of our League Cup that happened at Die Hard Games on March 29th, 2025. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format everyone wants. League Challenge, April 24th at 6 p.m. Central at Die Hard Games. Go see more info in this video's description and check out Pokemon's event locator for a premiere and other events at the shop, such as League Challenges, League Cups, pre-releases, and more. Please hit that like button right quick, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, say what you need to say in the comments, and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's research this game. On the left, we have Gholdengo. On the right, we have Roaring Moon. And our Roaring Moon player did take three mulligans here. That's why you see the number three on the fingers there, the fist bump, and the reveal of the double Greninja Radiant in the active spot for both players. Our Roaring Moon player is going first, I believe, on the right-hand side, putting that Pokestop into play, and they're going to spin the stop. Discard the top three cards of the deck, and you add any item cards discarded this way into your hand. Couple items found. Boss's orders discarded, but that can get recovered later as they play a Golden Nest Ball next. That item card allows them to look through their deck, and they may pick a basic Pokemon they find there to add to the bench. They're going to find that Squawkabilly EX. The Squawk and Seize is getting ready to go on this turn one. That ability can only be used on that first turn, of course. But they're going to play some more cards down from hand, benching Pheasantipity EX and then playing this Ultra Ball. That item card has them discard two cards from their hand in order to search their deck for any Pokemon, basic or evolution. Probably going to find that Roaring Moon and put it into play, as that's your main attacker. Get things shuffled up. Let's see what else they've got to play from their hand before this Squawkin' Seas here. Attaching an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to that Roaring Moon. That is an ancient Pokemon, so the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule gives it plus 60 HP and it can't be affected by special conditions. That Iron Bundle is put onto the bench now. And then Squawkin' Seas is used to discard the hand and draw 7 fresh new cards. Getting rid of 2 Dark Patch there. Golden is not ideal, but you got to do what you got to do to keep things moving and to make the next turn look brighter. As they assess the 6 cards in hand that they just got off of Squawkabilly EX, nothing else to play, so pass over to our Gholdengo player on the left. They have a Radiant Greninja in the active spot. Energy in hand so they could draw more cards. Buddy Buddy Poffin so they could find Go Gimme Ghoul, and that's what we're going to see first. That Buddy Buddy Poffin item card allows the player to look through their deck and pick up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP to put onto the bench. Usually it's double Gholdengo, but just depends on what's in hand. They finally decide on that. 2 of your basic form of your main attacker are down. That's good. Nest Ball can find additional support Pokemon, but usually just finds the Radiant Greninja that's already in play. Could find another Gimme Ghoul if they wanted. They're really eyeing up this Cypher Maniac's code breaking and decide on it. That supporter card allows them to look through their deck and select 2 cards. They shuffle their deck and then place those 2 cards on top of their deck in any order, legally stacking the deck here today with the power of the supporters. Eyeing up the Buddy Buddy Poffin to establish more Gimme Ghoul, it seems. And the items can be drawn, quote, drawn from the top since the Pokestop is in play. So it looks like 2 items were selected there. Deck gets shuffled up, and those 2 cards get added to the top thanks to this powerful supporter card. Next is Pokestop. Discard the top three cards of the deck. What do you know? I hit two items and oh, energy to the discard's okay, because that could be recovered later. So Buddy Buddy Poffin is played from the hand now to search the deck for up to two more basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less to put onto the bench. Actually going to go for a third Gimmighoul and that Spiritomb with its Fettered in Misfortune ability that states that your opponent's basic Pokemon V have no abilities. So nothing like a surprise Lumineon V would probably be the biggest one in its Luminous Sign ability, being blocked by that support Spiritomb on the bench now. Water energy attached to the active Radiant Greninja, and things are passed over to Roaring Moon on the right. They start their turn off with a Nest Ball that allows them to search their deck for a basic Pokemon to put onto the bench. The Petrant with the Subjugating Chains ability is now established. During your turn, you may switch one of your bench Darkness Pokemon to the active spot, and if you do, that Pokemon's poisoned. But when you move a capsuled Roaring Moon, the capsule prevents the poisoning, of course. Good synergy here, as next is Pokestop, discarding the top three, and Earthen Vessel and Trekking Shoes are found. Darkness in the discard is just fine, because that could be accelerated from there later as they play an Earthen Vessel next, discarding a Pokestop to search the deck for up to two basic energy cards to put into the hand. Double Darkness now added to the hand. You can get more darkness in the discard pile with Radiant Greninja's ability, if desired. More cards added to the hand that way, but first Trekking Shoes. Look at the top card of the deck. You can keep it or discard it and draw one more. Looks like the second option was selected there, as now we use Radiant Greninja's concealed cards. Discard an energy, draw two more cards. Now we're looking for that Professor Sada's Vitality, I'm sure. And another Dark Patch, but not before a Iron Bundle ability discards itself, and then the opponent selects a Pokemon from the bench to promote into the active spot. Gimmighoul is pushed into the active spot since there are multiple of those in play, and it's only worth one prize card. Next for our Roaring Moon player on the right is Ultra Ball, discarding an Ultra Ball and another Darkness Energy to search the deck for a Roaring Moon EX to put into play. Double Ancient Roaring Moon EX in play now, so Professor Sada's Vitality will be that much sweeter, as that's the card that's played next. Professor Sada's Vitality accelerates a Darkness Energy to up to two ancient Pokemon in play, so each of the ancient Roaring Moon EX get a Darkness Energy from the discard pile thanks to that supporter, and then the supporter draws three more cards from the top of the deck. Dark Patch and Darkness Energy are needed to attack here if the player wants to. Before that, they're going to do Trekking Shoes. Look at the top card, discard it, keep the next card that was on top of the deck. Another Ancient Capsule put onto the other Roaring Moon EX, giving it plus 60 HP. Darkness Energy attached for turn to the bench Roaring Moon, and then just pass, biding their time. It's kind of tricky because though you want to extend for the KO as a Roaring Moon player, there is merit to holding off because you would KO an opponent's one prizer with a two prizer, and then Gholdengo could just come back and KO your two prizer, starting the 2-2-2 prize trade, going ahead on that prize trade, should I say. And it's kind of tough to decide what's the best course of action, being aggressive or conservative. Our player chooses the conservative route, at least for this turn, and play resumes over on Gholdengo's side on the left. We'll see how it pays out for them as Earthen Vessel is played by our Gholdengo player, discarding an Ultra Ball, to search the deck for up to two basic energy cards to put into the hand. Water and Lightning added to the hand off of that vessel there. The Gholdengo player is kind of in the same spot of, do I really want to KO this one prize Radiant Greninja with the two prizer, leaving, a true two prizer in the active spot to be KO'd? So first they use Radiant Greninja's concealed cards to discard an energy and draw two cards, getting more resources into the hand, attaching another water to that Radiant Greninja, and taking the conservative route as well. Passing things over, that Radiant Greninja is getting its attack actually charged up here. Now play resumes on the right-hand side as our player examines their discard pile, seeing how much darkness is in there. Professor Sada's Vitality can accelerate the one darkness energy to a Roaring Moon EX and then draw three cards. Roaring Moon EX is fully powered up now. Energy is attached to the other Roaring Moon from hand for turn. Almost two Roaring Moon fully powered up now, as Petrant EX uses Subjugating Chains to move the Darkness type Roaring Moon EX to the active spot. It's not poisoned because the Ancient Booster Capsule prevents status conditions. And then we're just going to initiate the prize trade. It's time to pull the trigger and be aggressive here, as Roaring Moon EX uses its Calamity Storm attack. You may discard a stadium in play. If you do, this attack does 120 more damage. We didn't need that extra damage to take the KO, but it's good to discard the stadium so that way we deny access to our opponent of it. As our opponent looks at their hand on the left and tries to determine the best Pokemon to promote, and it's that Gimmighoul that's promoted as the turn starts now. Top decking Arven, pretty good to have a supporter. First is a Nest Ball, allowing that player to search their deck for a basic Pokemon to put into play on the bench. Eyeing up that Pheasantipity EX as Flip the Script would be online since the opponent took a KO on their last turn. They're doing an energy count of their deck as they're keeping in mind they have access to the Energy Search Pro if they could find it. Thinking about future turns, our players are in this round 4, last round of Swiss of the League Cup. Still resolving this nest ball and trying to formulate the best course of action. Finally deciding upon that Pheasantipity EX, putting that into play with its Flip the Script ability. If the opponent took a KO on their last turn, then you can draw 3 cards with that ability. Get more resources into the hand, have more options is always good in the Pokemon trading card game. This player sees how many energy in the discard pile, a couple of them, and Flip the Script is used now to draw 3 cards. Okay, they found that Energy Search Pro. Can they find a Gholdengo EX? Is that all that's missing here? Nope, there is one in there. So Energy Search Pro, let's see how many energy I can grab now. That Roaring Moon EX has 290 HP. Oh, and only 3 energy pulled out of the deck with the Energy Search Pro. That pink Ace Spec card allows the player to search their deck for one of each different basic energy cards and put it in their hand. So that's why you see all the rainbow energy going on here, but only 3 are selected there. Gholdengo EX, of course, has the Make It Rain attack. For 1 metal energy. It does 50 times the amount of basic energy you discard. So no damage cap, but you have to have all that energy in hand to do big damage, and then we would need, what, 6 energy in hand to KO the opposing Roaring Moon. Let's see if they could take a big one-shot here. Another option will be to soften things up with that Radiant Greninja Moonlight Shuriken. They're almost there. I guess you do need an energy to attach as well from hand, so 7 energy needed total to KO this 290 HP basic EX Pokemon. Gholdengo EX evolved in the active spot, and it uses its coin bonus ability to draw 2 cards since it's in the active. You can only draw 1 if it's on the bench. Next is Pokestop put back into play. Discard the top three. That lost vacuum is found. That could help. The lost vacuum, if you send a card from your hand to the lost zone, the lost vacuum will send a tool or stadium card in play to the lost zone, so you can reduce the amount of energy needed to take a KO, or can get tricky later. I won't dive into the weeds of that right this second and see what our player decides to do. Either way, great card in Gholdengo, in my opinion, that lost vacuum is. Our player checks out their discard pile, seeing what resources have been used, trying to better inform their next decision. Of boss's orders as a supporter per turn, bringing up that Petron EX. Petron EX has only 190 HP, so that's another way less energy would be needed to take two prize cards this turn, as only four would be needed to discarded to make it rain on this Petron EX for the KO. 50 times the amount of damage or energy you discard. Superior Energy Retrieval is an item card that has you discard two cards from hand in order to put back into your hand from your discard pile up to four basic energy cards. Just two there, so two selected, but we've got the four needed to discard and take the KO with Make It Rain on the opposing Petron EX for two prize cards. Roaring Moon EX flies back into the active spot on the right hand side and play resumes there. They've got the KO already with Frenzied Gouging. Roaring Moon EX's first attack, it knocks out the opponent's active Pokemon instantly, and then the Roaring Moon EX deals 200 damage to itself. As a backup, Roaring Moon EX number 3 is put onto the bench. Earthen Vessel is being played now, discarding a baby Roaring Moon to search the deck for up to two basic energy cards. Two of them are in there, so they are liberated from the deck thanks to that vessel. And they get added to the hand. Energy attached to the Roaring Moon EX on the bench. There's two of them in play, fully powered up now, followed by an Iono. Nice. Both players shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of their deck, and then draw cards from the top equal to their remaining prize cards. 4 and 5 for our players currently, causing some disruption to the opponent, but oh yeah, and gonna knock out the only Gholdengo in play. There is some draw though with the Pheasantipede EX and the Greninja. Plus the opponent drew pretty well out of the Iono. But either way, you got to try and do what you got to do. As the Roaring Moon EX uses Frenzied Gouging to knock out the opposing Gholdengo, deal 200 damage to itself in exchange for two prize cards. Radiant Greninja moves up into the active spot and play resumes on its side. Now, that Roaring Moon EX currently has 90 HP left. The Radiant Greninja, its Moonlight Shuriken attack, if you discard two energy cards from it, you can deal 90 damage to two of your opponent's Pokemon. So you can take a KO on the active and soften up something else on the bench with the one prizer. So that's already pretty much on board for our Gholdengo player on the left. But they've got some cards to draw before they make their final decision. Cypher Maniacs, code breaking in hand. So that can get any two item cards guaranteed with the Pokestop in play, and it looks like they're going for that first. So they look through their deck for two cards to stack their deck with off of this Cypher's supporter. Eyeing up two energy cards, and I didn't see what the grab was there, but we'll wait and see, as I'm sure we're going to find out very soon. All right. Oh, Pheasantipity Flip the Script can draw those two cards instantly as well. No need for them to be items. With the Pokestop, sorry, I didn't catch that there, as a Buddy Buddy Poffin is played now. Search the deck for a replacement Gimme Ghoul, backup Gimme Ghoul, should I say. It's important to keep the Pokemon chaining and flowing here, especially the flagship Pokemon of your deck, the Gholdengo deck in its basic form, Gimme Ghoul. Gholdengo evolved on the bench, coin bonus used to draw cards since it's there currently. Energy attached to the active Radiant Greninja, so we're definitely seeing a Moonlight Shuriken attack this turn. Pokestop being spun now, looking at the top three cards of the deck. Two item cards found. Gholdengo in the discard's not the greatest, but you can recover that with Night Stretcher. And Radiant Greninja discards 2 energy to deal 90 damage to the active Pokemon, knocking it out, and then softening up the bench one. So this is good because if the, let's see, it's got 290, right? Yeah, if the Roaring Moon EX on the bench wants to use Frenzied Gouging, it would knock itself out instantly with this Radiant Greninja Moonlight Shuriken play. So let's see if our Roaring Moon player can navigate out of this tricky situation the opponent has put them in. First, flip the script since your Pokemon was KO'd on your opponent's last turn. Draw 3 cards with Pheasantipity EX. Get more options in hand to better inform your next decisions. Another Earthen Vessel played, discarding useless Squawkabilly EX. Search the deck for just a single energy card this time. Get added to the hand. Dark Patch now. Auxiliary a Darkness energy from the discard pile to a bench Darkness type Roaring Moon EX. Debating on playing this Trekking Shoes now. But first, concealed cards actually. Radiant Greninja discards an energy to draw 2 cards with its ability. We're going low here. And Iona was already played, but they could probably recycle it and draw back into it to not deck out when needed. As they check out their opponent's discard pile now, downloading as much info as they can to better inform their next decision. Oh, and it looks like the Ace-Spect Prime Catcher is there. And yeah, we cannot Frenzied Gouging ourselves and knock ourselves out because the opponent only has 2 prize cards remaining. That would instantly win them the game, right? So I play a Hisuian Heavy Ball. Let's look at the prize cards. You could switch to Heavy Ball with the basic Pokemon you find there. No target selected, so probably just thinning that Heavy Ball out of the deck, out of the hand. It'd be nice to take a 1 prize KO this turn with the Baby Roaring Moon. That was discarded earlier. Let's see how our player navigates this. They can take a KO on the Greninja with the powered up Roaring Moon on the bench, not with Frenzied Gouging, with Calamity Storm to not KO itself. But then Gholdengo can come up and knock it out with it being softened up already that much easier. It's probably what our player is going through in their head. So they play this Pel Pad to shuffle back into the deck a couple supporters from the discard pile. Iono and Professor Sadas get shuffled back in. And they're probably really looking to play the Iono this turn. Iono their opponent to low and disrupt them as much as possible. So Trekking Shoes looks top card of the deck, and oh, lucky find there. Pokegear 3.0, allowing them to look at the top 7 cards of the deck. Select a supporter they find there and add it to their hand. Of course, they take that Iono now. What kind of power plays can they put together here? They attach a darkness energy to the roaring moon on the right. I'm just going to go back in this sequence a bit to make sure there wasn't a double attachment or anything. I don't think there was. Maybe it was probably a dark patch. Darkness energy, add it to hand. And yep, that dark patch accelerated that energy, so they definitely have a attach for turn there. Excuse me. All right, so they manually attach to the Roaring Moon, fresh one. They put Latias EX in play with the Skyliner ability, giving all your basic Pokemon free retreat. But we're going for this Prime Catcher here, bringing up the Pheasantipity EX on the bench, and then moving the Roaring Moon EX on their bench to the active spot, and then going for an Iono. So Iono knockout and hope the opponent doesn't have it is the way our Roaring Moon player best sees to claim victory in this round. So there we go. Calamity Storm. Discard a stadium in play to do 220 damage, enough to KO the 1, 2, 10 HP Pheasantipity EX for 2 prize cards. Going down the 1 prize card, Gholdengo EX slides into the active spot on the left, and play resumes on their side. They get to see some cards, but we need what? This one has 200 HP, the Roaring Moon EX does, thanks to the Radiant Greninja attack earlier. So they need 4 energy to discard and 1 to attach to the Gholdengo to attack. So metal plus 5 other basic energies this turn. I'm going to start with Nest Ball. That was also, along with the Iono and KO, the KO was taken on an important support Pokemon in that Pheasantipity EX to draw with Flip the Script. Trying to leave the Gholdengo player with as few outs as possible. The Roaring Moon player did there with that big power play sequence at the end of the turn. Nest Ball looked like it was a fail, just to see it was in the deck. Now, coin bonus for 2, drawing 2 from the top because that Gholdengo's in the active spot. And I'm just not seeing it. Remember, we need 5 energy, metal energy, plus superior energy retrieval, or I guess any energy plus superior energy retrieval would do it. So close, but so far. Has our Roaring Moon player managed to cause enough disruption to survive one more turn and try to steal the game away? Either way, good game so far. Players are putting on as our Gholdengo player thinks through the outs and options and possibilities for this turn to stay in the game, or at least to not let their opponent win on the next turn. You can't really boss stall anything because the Latias EX with Skyliner is in play and only basic Pokemon are used. So it looks like just a pass and hope they don't have it. All right, Pokemon catcher from the top. Um, this card says flip a coin. If heads, it acts like boss's orders, a guessing card. If tails, it's blank. Big coin flip here as it's flipped heads. So that means the Roaring Moon player can choose any of these under 100 HP or under, excuse me. You would have to go for either the Spiritomb or the Gimmighoul. So they just either bring the Spiritomb or the Gimmighoul up into the active spot, attack it with Calamity Storm for 100 damage for the last prize card of the game. And what a way to close out our Swiss rounds. Next for our players is Top Cut. What do you think of this video in the commentary? Please leave feedback in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our players for letting their game be captured so we can all learn and enjoy. And I'll see you next time in the Professor's Lab.